Hello everyone, and welcome to the open day for the MSc Creative Robotics at the Creative Computing Institute, or CCI. My name is Georgina Capdevila-Cano, and I'll be your host in this session. Today, we're going to share all about this new provision at CCI that we're very excited to share with you all today, MSc Creative Robotics. And in order to do that, we'll have with us Dr. Vali Lalioti, who's the Director of Programs at the Creative Computing Institute. We'll have with us the course leader of the MSc in Data Science and AI for the Creative Industries, Dr. McCallum. And finally, we'll have Dr. Iulia Ionescu, who's the course leader at the MRes in Creative Computing here at CCI as well. To give you an overview of how the session is structured today, we're going to start talking about the Creative Computing Institute first, and we've got 3 videos which will walk you through the amazing spaces and resources available to students. We'll talk you through our research themes and social mission and public program activities. And finally, we'll tell you a little bit about the vibrant local area in which CCI's campus is located at. And after that, we'll dive deep into the course, the approach, the units, and the structure of the MSc in Creative Robotics with Dr. Vali Lalioti. Then we'll have a couple of presentations, both of them showcasing different research in the field of creative robotics with McCallum and Iulia Ionescu. And finally, we'll move on to the Q&A section. We'll have different frequently asked questions about this new MSc provision. And in that section, we'll also encourage you to ask us any questions or doubts or queries that you might have about CCI or the MSc in Creative Robotics, and we'll do our best to cover it. Before we continue, just know that if you have difficulties following along the session, this open day today is being recorded and it will be uploaded on YouTube with English closed captions. So know that if you miss some details, you'll have the chance to catch up at your own pace with the captions included on the YouTube video. So let's get this started. We'll begin by watching a video that will walk you through all the resources, spaces, and facilities that are available to all our CCI students.
Welcome to the CCI Facilities Tour. Over the next few minutes, we are going to show you around the campus and tell you a bit about the facilities and resources available to our students. CCI South London is located across 2 buildings along Peckham Road in Camberwell. We share our buildings with Camberwell College of Arts, which is a fantastic opportunity for CCI students to get to know and collaborate with students studying courses like fine art, photography, graphic design, and illustration. The Greencoat building hosts teaching spaces and technical spaces for students studying creative computing and creative robotics. It also hosts the Dark Lab for AR, VR, and interaction design. This summer, we are going to be creating additional technical spaces in this building to support the new creative robotics courses that open in September 2023. CCI is located on the 5th floor of Peckham Road, where we have teaching spaces and technical labs, as well as a kitchen, which is our main student hangout and study space. We have several high-spec workstation computers, where you can work on machine learning, data science, and other intensive computing tasks. We have a library on site with access to a range of books, e-books, periodicals, and databases. Our dedicated librarian, Beninia, ensures that these resources are kept up to date to help you complete your studies. Across the courtyard is Gardens House, one of a growing number of halls of residence across London. And on the ground floor is the Learning Zone, a space for self-directed study that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to all UAL students. There are places to eat, like our canteen, Student Advice Centre and support services, and an art and materials shop. In summer 2023, we will redevelop the former London College of Fashion building at High Holborn. We will share this building with UAL's brand new PhD hub, which will help to ensure that CCI's focus remains around the development of world-class research. At our Holborn site, we will create new technical, teaching and library facilities to support our new courses in computer science and data science.
The technicians here at CCI all have a decade of experience doing really cool stuff with emerging technology. We'd love to help the students here with any questions they have about their projects. The Dark Lab is for experimenting with interaction, projection, sound, and VR. Great for permanent projection setups. We've got a couple of VR booths. We've got loads of speakers and many other toys to play with. I specialize in creative coding and especially interactive things using Kinect and cameras and game engines, 3D graphics. We have a whole bunch of equipment that students can take out on loan, including projectors, Kinects. We also have laptop lockers where you can get a laptop to work with.
Physical computing really is just the connection to the physical world, to the data. Students have played with physical computing in all sorts of different ways. A lot of interaction with gaming and the VR world as well. Sensing various different bits and pieces, using touch especially, all sorts of different sensors to put things in a virtual world, or vice versa. They could have things coming from a virtual world and bringing them into the real world. We generally lend Arduinos to all of the students, and with that we have a collection of different modules. This allows us to interact with the world in various different ways. Those modules could be sound sensing, they could be image sensing, they could be sensing the environment in some other way. The benches here are for the students to solder and prototype and put different boards together. We have different components with different levels of exploration with electronics, so you can quickly get something together on breadboard, or you might want to make something that's more solid.
I help students who want to use the digital knitting machine, the digital embroidery machine, and who are also thinking about incorporating electronics or computation into textiles or wearable kind of technology. We have a silver reed digital knitting machine. So that's a domestic knitting machine that can be computer controlled, so you can use it to create digital patterns, and that's used to produce knitted fabric. I tend to think of it like a 3D printer kind of for textiles. And then the other textiles machine that we have is a Brother digital embroidery machine. So that's kind of fully automated programmable embroidery machine that you can use to embroider textiles.
This is Digital Fabrication Lab, and we have 3D printing machine and laser cutting machine here. For our 3D printers, we just drag your design into the software and slicing it and directly push it to the printer, and your design will be materialized. For the laser cutter, it's also very efficient. Even very complex pattern, it will only take like several minutes. Most of students will use it to generate the housing for their physical computing things. It helps students to materialize their project quickly.
To find out more about our facilities and equipment, please visit wiki.cci.arts.ac.uk.
Now, a lot of students are interested in finding out more about the research themes that we explore here at CCI and the social mission that underpins our teaching and public program activities. In the following video, we will share with you all about it.
CCI's key research themes are creativity, machine learning and AI, human-computer interaction and platforms, and big data and digital citizenship. So we're interested in how machine learning and AI can transform people's creative practices, enable the creation of totally new kinds of work in music and art, and enable new people to get involved in creative practice. We've created a lot of software tools like Wekinator, Mimic, and InteractML, which are used by tens of thousands of people around the world to make new music and art and games. We've had staff and students exhibit work that's created with AI at venues like the Whitney and the Barbican, and we've had collaborations with artists and musicians like Arca, Massive Attack, and others. A number of staff and students are also leaders in community and activist groups. For instance, the Code Liberation Foundation teaches women and non-binary people how to make games, and the Critical Platform Studies Group explores how digital platforms might encode and even reproduce patterns of problematic power structures in society. This rich and exciting research environment is the product of many staff coming together from lots of different disciplines. These include not just computer science and art, but music, engineering, design, philosophy, art history, and all sorts of other domains. We all bring our excitement and experience from these different research projects with us into the classroom. And it's a place that I really love teaching, and I'm excited to share it with you. CCI's teaching, research, and outreach activities are all informed by our social mission. This mission has 3 components. They are digital inclusion, diversity in technology, and digital entrepreneurship. First, we are committed to the inclusion of marginalized people in the creation of technology and in the use of technology. This informs what we teach, both in the classroom and beyond the classroom. It also means that we have to recognize that the lack of diversity in the tech workforce right now both stems from and contributes to broader problems in our society, and we have to address these too. Secondly, we're really mindful about the impacts that technology has on the broader world. We have to recognize the potential harms that come with technology, whether that means harms to well-being or even exacerbating bias and inequality. At the same time, we're very involved in projects that aim to have a more positive impact on the world. We are collaborating with the Decolonizing Art Institute at UAL right now to try to surface and mitigate bias in museum collections across the UK. We have staff and students, some with disabilities themselves, who are making technologies that enable new ways for disabled people to interact with technology and create new forms of technology for themselves. And third, CCI is committed to creating digital entrepreneurship opportunities for marginalized people. If we want tech to be a force for good, we need to enable people to apply technology in ways that they're excited and passionate about, where they know technology is going to be useful. So this means applying creative computing to new application areas, to addressing needs in people's communities, and to affecting social change.
The Creative Computing Institute's public programme can be anything from talks, workshops, short online tutorials, conversations, and it's really aimed at engaging with the community outside of our students. Students join in it too, but it's very much for the general public. The reason I run it with so much passion is because it's a part of my ongoing research and practice, which is about including unheard voices in technology development. I think that we've got as much to give communities as we can learn as an institution from communities. And so engaging with the general public is engaging with users and having that dialogue, that critical dialogue, and then coming back and designing software and hardware from a more informed position is really important. I would love to tell you a little bit more about TechYard. It's a huge part of the CCI's public programme, and I've been running it for almost 3 years now. So it started in the pandemic as an online tutorial course for young people, and now it's grown into a hybrid programme. We go into schools, we run workshops here at the CCI, we collaborate with galleries all around London and hopefully soon beyond. And again, it's the ethos of engaging people outside of our student cohort with the critical creative computing conversation, ethics, and of course, like skills as well, right? So we can run 3D modelling workshops, virtual reality workshops, and we work with beyond young people now. So I do loads of stuff for young people, but also done some work with adults as well. Examples of past public programme workshops that we've run include inclusive design in wearable technology, designing a feminist chatbot, and queering voice AI trans-centered design.
And the last video that we've got prepared for you will give you an idea of how exciting and vibrant the area and culture that surrounds CCI's campus is in Southeast London. So I hope you get to enjoy it as much as we do.
The area of Peckham and Camberwell is very much becoming a centre for art and performance and music, and so it's a natural home for what is a brand new centre of creative technology.
There's so much to do in terms of eating out or bars, pubs. It's very easy to get to Brixton, Peckham from Camberwell.
I love Peckham. Something about the area, Camberwell, Peckham, New Cross, Deptford, with Goldsmiths as well, kind of creates quite a nice community. I definitely feel like where I live, which is close by, has a kind of community spirit.
Every year it just grows in terms of more things to do, cafes, galleries. The galleries I like to go to is the Hannah Barry Gallery, the South London Gallery. Peckham Levels do a lot of pop-up galleries, so it's always changing. Peckhamplex is really cool. It's just next to Peckham Levels. The best thing about Peckhamplex is the cinema tickets are £4.99 and it's the cheapest cinema in London. Also in the area, there's lots of parks. My favorite park is Brunswick Park. It has Bauer Art Gallery set up by UAL students. It's just got such great access into other areas in town. The East London line goes straight to Hoxton, Shoreditch, Dalston. The community at CCI, really friendly. Everyone can just express themselves and just be themselves.
It's my third year studying at the Creative Computing Institute, and I've been really enjoying my time, and I'm very happy with all the knowledge I've got from the tutors and my peers. The community is really nice here. I feel like every time I'm stuck, I can always find the right person to talk to, and I always get further with my project.
Something about the space is really nice. It's a very kind of calming environment. Nice teachers, I find. So it kind of creates a welcoming environment. I feel like I can spend a whole day here and feel pretty happy. I can safely say that the technicians are really attentive and kind of excited as well. If you get Pete talking about something, he'll talk to you for like a very long time about like 50 different things that you could be doing with what you have.
I also go to the technical space quite a lot because it's really nice to just walk in there and ask questions and then solving the issues that always come up when you code. I think the most valuable thing I've learned here is that just by talking with people and asking them about what they're interested about and what they're passionate about, this is how I've learned most.
All right, now it's time to start talking about the MSc in Creative Robotics, the reason why you're here today. So I'm very happy to pass on the mic to my colleague, Dr. Vali Lalioti, who's the Director of Programs at CCI and who will share all about the MSc approach, units, and content with you. Hello, Vali.
Hi, Georgina, and hello, everyone. Really excited to talk about the MSc Creative Robotics today with you. I am the Director of Programs for the Creative Computing Institute, and you will see that I have like a lot of academic staff, a very multidisciplinary background. I started my academic career having a PhD in computer science, and now I'm leading a broad program, both our current courses, which are the BSc undergraduate and postgraduate courses in creative computing, our diploma courses, as well as a variety of MSc and MRes and MA courses in creative computing. I'm particularly excited about our 6 new courses that will start in 2023. And today I will be talking to you about specifically the MSc in Creative Robotics. So as I said, my background is interdisciplinary. I've started my career back in 1996 as a computer scientist, working with the first projection-based virtual reality systems. You see some of the images on the right. And then I had the fortunate experience of being a professor of computer science in South Africa during the Mandela presidency. And that's where you see some of the paintings, African paintings, making it into my research and my work in virtual reality. And we told a lot of interactive stories at that time of apartheid and of the positive growth and change in that country. I moved then back into the UK, worked at the BBC, and there you see some of the first augmented reality productions that I've done working as a researcher at the BBC. We got the Royal Television Award for some of these productions in 2003. I continued working in virtual reality, but I also came to work more with robotics, and that started with my MRes in design. I worked at the Royal College of Art, and we created some of these robotics. This is an example, is a soft robotic steering wheel. Wired magazine has picked it up because we were looking at what it means to really work with AI and robotics technologies, including working with Uber drivers, for example, at that time. multidisciplinary research, and I'm not the only one. A lot of my colleagues are equally multidisciplinary, connecting different fields of computer science, both physical computing and virtual reality and AI. I continue doing this kind of research, dual research. This is an example of the work I've done during the COVID years. As we were all locked up in our rooms, I created a VR platform where performers could perform from home as if they are within a concert hall and with the acoustics of the concert hall. So we use that in several occasions also post-COVID. But today, I'm very excited to share my work around creative robotics. So this year, in 2022, I went as a visiting professor at the University of Tokyo, where I explored together with the design lab there, we explored how we can design movement in robotics that doesn't stem from function, it stems from culture, and to look at different ways of manifesting culture and personality in robotics. So this is some of the research I've done. They are examples of the exhibition I ran at the end and one of the prototypes. So we started with paper made and very low definition prototypes. You see the images from the left and going to final ones that were fully fledged creative robotics, moving in all kinds of interesting and more natural kind of motion. You would expect something like this to fit into CCI, and that multidisciplinarity is at the core of what we do. But what is CCI? What is this Creative Computing Institute? We are one of 4 institutes that the University of the Arts London has. We are the youngest of the 4, but growing really fast. We are the way that working in this intersection of creativity and computational technologies, it allows UAL to explore with us and through us how the technology is shaping our world. And as a very active research institute, it allows us to prepare you know, a new generation of talent so that you can shape the world through technology and creativity. We explore then computer science both from creative practice and through very innovative pedagogies. So we have a very hands-on way of teaching. We have some part of it lecturing the theory, but usually we'll work in a sort of flipped pedagogy, having you explore and learn through making and through doing and in teams. So that's very important to us throughout our work. We are very strong, as you have already seen, in research and teaching, and also programs that transfer that knowledge to the community. The areas of machine learning, data science and AI, human-computer interaction, physical computing, coding, virtual and augmented reality, and quite importantly, we study with a critical lens, digital citizenship. Our social mission is very important to us, and we work on digital inclusion, diversity in technology, and digital entrepreneurship. And when you join us, you will be part, and we will welcome your contribution in both our research, of course, but also in our social mission. But why would you come and do a creative robotics degree in an arts university? It's something that people ask me as a first question. And that is our uniqueness. We are unique in being able to introduce STEM research, so science and computer science, and these core skills that any engineer in robotics or a computer scientist might need to have. But we do that in ways that allow our graduates to be able to work across multidisciplinary teams, because they are able to have a critical and creative eye into these core disciplines. So creative robotics is, again, another course that incorporates this unique pedagogy and unique placement that we have in the world of academia and industry. You might be wondering, what is this robot doing there? So this is now, we are building obviously a lab for you, a creative robotics lab. And this is now a robot from Japan, Awaken. It's its first moments in CCI. And it arrived while I was still in Japan. So it was quite an interesting juxtaposition of sending a human to Japan and a robot from Japan to CCI. I'd like to talk a little bit more in detail about the course you will be taking. And this is a picture that just describes it in one image. I don't expect you to read this deeply, but I want to explain what the kind of units you're going to have will look like. So for this course, you will join us and have 4 terms. And roughly each one is 10 weeks. And every term, you will have 3 units to take. One unit, which you see at the top, or as orange, for those that color works. So the top layer across all terms, across the 3 first terms, is about coding. So you're going to be learning advanced skills in creative robotics coding and advanced frameworks for robotics. And you see that is building up from coding 1, coding 2, coding 3, where you reach to code machine intelligence and social robots and robotic behavior. And in parallel to this, the second unit, what you see as blue or second in order, is building a critical understanding of the field of creative robotics. So we study there both the history of robotics, its impact in society, and also the research methods that you can use in your own MSc research to provide your final project, to look into how you can deliver this kind of project at the end of term 4. So that's the second layer. So one set of courses will teach you coding and robotic skills. The second layer will teach you in parallel how to have a critical perspective and the kind of research methodologies that you can use. And the final layer is from the start is about creative making. So it's about actually building robots. It's about starting with physical computing and building on top of that the mechanics and the electronics and the movement that is necessary to create advanced robotics. And this is what your body of study looks like for the first 3 terms. Then we have a summer break, which is your own independent study. And that allows you some time to absorb and consolidate your knowledge and start working on your projects. And the final term is your own advanced project and your thesis. So this is how our pedagogy translates into your MSc in Creative Robotics. Very happy to answer more questions about that in the Q&A session. But I wanted to share also, of course, the exciting thing about showcasing your research. These are some examples of showcasing research in undergraduate and postgraduate show that we had last year. And you can already see a picture on the right, which is a robotic prototype. We have a lot of physical exhibits as well. For example, the picture on the right-hand side is a musical instrument that creates music by stroking mushrooms, which are embedded in this foamy armchair. Finally, I wanted to show you just a few projects, robotic projects that are actually currently worked on by our current MSc and diploma students. This one is an example where our student, Lucy Ellis, she's working between digital and physical processes. And in this one, she's using the analog process of film and the digital process of a robotic arm painting on top of that film to create animations. So ultimately, she's merging robotics and film industry together in this kind of hybrid kind of methodology. This robotic is the one you recognize maybe from the first picture, the first robotic installation. And Beatrice is actually working further to incorporate biomaterials, bioplastic materials into this robotic structure that looks more like a flower, and it moves again in very, very natural ways. Finally, one of our students, Huda, who has graduated, she's an alumni working at the fashion at the Central St. Martin's, finishing her degree there. She's looking at biophysical control and controlling robotic arms like that. I'd like to draw your attention finally into something we are very excited about. We are building a symposium on creative robotics research. This will be an open day on the 20th of January. We have guest speakers and keynote speakers from Japan, from the UK, people from Imperial College, as well as one of global artists, renowned artists that works very closely with robotics. So I'd like to invite you to that, and we will obviously advertise that in your chats and your forums. Thank you very much for joining. Looking forward to your questions and interaction with you in a moment.
Thank you so much, Vali, for your insightful presentation. That was great. Now, I would like to welcome our colleague, Dr. Louis McCallum, to this virtual space, who will give us a presentation about research on creative robotics with some related examples. Hello, Louis. Let's welcome him in.
Hello.
Hello, Louis. All yours.
Thank you. Cool. So hopefully you can see my screen. Is that working? Yeah, cool. So you'll see quite small pictures, and that's fine. So yeah, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about how I, over the years, got from making pretty kind of hacky budget mechanical instruments through to full-blown robots. And if I have time at the end, you will even get to see me dressed up as a robot running a half marathon. So we'll see how the time goes. And kind of the intention from this is to show that again, these kind of programs didn't exist when I was starting out. I did kind of traditional computer science, music technology, started working on a PhD program, didn't really have any facilities. I'm not an engineer myself, but kind of I had this desire to build things. So I think what's really lovely about this creative robotics program is it'll be both the syllabus and the facilities will be there to kind of get you started on this journey much quicker. So here, this first thing you can see is I dug it out of my undergraduate thesis. It's the first robot I ever made. You'll see that it's built out of chipboard, which is the cheapest wood that you can buy in B&Q, but definitely not the best thing for making electromechanical things with. And it's all kind of attached together with elastic bands and blue tack and stuff. So kind of that's, and obviously it has a lovely cowbell for SNL fans. So I kind of gradually moved on from there to first trying to mechanize instruments that existed already. So I'd go to music shops and see what I could buy for cheap, and see how I could attach motors to it to play it. So I'll play you a quick video of this mechanical bells. So yeah, that's kind of started off as me buying a set of children's bells, drilling holes through them, sticking them on a dowel, and then sticking some motors underneath them to play them. And that eventually ended up as a full-blown cabinet of mechanical toys that I used to take to installations. People could program them and kind of play them all together. There's a couple of ukuleles in there. There was a full drum kit. There's some bells on the side as well. Again, this is all pretty budget. Wires everywhere. So I'm kind of gradually building up my ability to both like produce things and produce things reliably that don't fall apart. Because again, that's a very specific set of skills. I later, after kind of mechanizing existing instruments like ukuleles and bells, I kind of realized that human instruments are made in a certain way because humans have hands and their bodies work in a certain way, and lungs and mouths. So kind of mechanizing them, these things that have been designed to be played by humans, was a bit of a weird way around to do it. So instead, I started building my own instruments that were kind of designed to be mechanically controlled from the beginning. So that's a bunch of piano hammers attached to some kind of string instruments, kind of playing them together. And again, that ended up in a more kind of complete, nice, fully like heart-shaped box with a resonator and a bunch of hammers in the top with the strings around the outside. I did other stuff like took apart a piano. So we completely took apart this piano, put it flat on its back, and if you take out the resonators, like the hammers from a piano and the dampeners, and just bounce stuff off it, you get this like big, crazy resonant sound.
Hey, Louis, sorry to interrupt. Just to note that the sound is not working, so
okay.
I wonder whether maybe we can share the screen again and see if we can just.
Okay. I'll get. Yeah, no worries. Stop share screen. Present. Share screen. Share. Okay, we'll try this again, and maybe you'll get the sound now.
I'm afraid there's still no sound, but maybe, Louis, what we could do is just share some links over on the chat, and maybe people can see for themselves.
Yeah, I'll share some afterwards. That's fine. So yeah, what you're missing there is you actually get a big kind of resonance when you don't have the dampeners on a piano and you just have it flat on its back there. And you fire marbles at it, you get this like kind of sound. So it's just kind of riffing on these ideas of like marble machines and helter-skelters to build a kind of whole new instrument out of an existing instrument. Later from this, it's a shame you're not going to be able to hear this. And then finally for my PhD, when I kind of actually got some good facilities in the workshop and was able to build stuff properly, I became more interested in kind of when you have these physical objects and when something is actually a robot, what difference does that make? So can you add in different like socially simulated behaviors? So I'm going to show you my robot that plays the drums. So there you see, as well as just playing the drums and reacting to how people played the piano along with it, we also had this full set of head movements that reacted both to musical cues, so the kind of like nods and winks of jazz musicians, but also the social cues. So as it asks a question, it will lean forward and raise up its eyebrows. So we kind of went full circle from kind of completely mechanized instruments to actually like emulating the physical and social attributes of human musicians. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I will pass on some links to share. You can check out some of these videos yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis, for your presentation and for showing us some of your research projects. Yeah, we'll be sharing some links on the chat, so keep an eye over there. Now it's time to welcome my other colleague, Dr. Iulia Ionescu, who will talk us through some more research on the field of creative robotics and show us some exciting projects. Hello, Iulia.
Hey, I hope you can hear me. I'm really sad I didn't get to see Louis as a robot, but hopefully No, I won't make up for it. I can't make up for it. But anyway, yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Iulia, and I'm the course leader and senior lecturer on the MRes course, as well as the acting course leader for the modular program, but not for long. So I put together a very brief presentation of two of the projects I've done as part of my research, because I only have 5 minutes and I could be talking for 5 hours if nobody stops me. Right. So these two projects are a part of my PhD research, which I have recently completed, and they touch on kind of an essential and thorny concept within the world of robotics, which is anthropomorphism. So the act of attributing human mental states or characteristics to non-human entities, such as robots, and we do that a lot. So kind of more precisely, I've been studying the interaction between anthropomorphism as a perceptive phenomenon and anthropomorphism as a deliberate kind of act of designing human-like representations of a system, which is what I refer to as personification. So to me, part of kind of like the biggest excitement when it comes to robotics is that there are so many unknowns when it comes to humans interacting with human-like systems, such as robots. And there's a whole bunch of kind of social psychological phenomena happening in the human robots kind of interaction that is yet to be charted. And that's what I'm really interested in. And that's what I've been doing as part of my research. So basically, my premise is that what the conceptual model does, so how we design robots or agents to appear human-like, does not align at all with how our mental models, so what people actually believe a system does. And part of the excitement with kind of these new robotics courses is that you will learn to think critically about designing these systems and to be more aligned with human expectations and values. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna speak really fast. So one of my first projects in this space, and bear in mind that these are experiments rather than proposed products, was this kind of like new AI assistant, which is a product and an interaction. And it was designed to kind of like alternate the interaction model between different types of accents. And the aim of this research project was to kind of explore the mechanism through which we understand how users, approximate kind of like AI's knowledge based on the type of persona it portrayed. So I basically asked participants to play a game of activity with this anthropomorphic agent, which was modeled after one of Apple's assistants that speaks with an Indian English accent. So basically, participants had to describe 6 modern buildings from around the world, being told that a device would try and guess it. And in essence, I was trying to figure out whether they were subconsciously interacting with a device based on a pre-existing theory, or if they were just kind of automatically reacting to social cues. And the results were really interesting because participants spent about 20% less time describing the Indian building, which suggested that they did indeed kind of like estimate the knowledge of the device based on the type of persona it portrayed. And this to me is interesting because it shows how design choices could and often do kind of condition users to fall back upon kind of antique or like outdated perceptions of gender or ethnic stereotypes. And this is a follow-up experiment, which I designed another anthropomorphic agent that kind of could shift the conversation model between an opaque kind of human-like interaction and a transparent robotic one. And again, I asked participants to play an animal guessing game. I'm not sure if you know this game, but it's modeled after an existing Alexa skill in which you think of an animal and the AI asks questions such as, does it have a tail, or does it fly underwater? That's quite hard, but until it narrows it down to kind of like this one solution. And what was interesting is that it seemed that when it comes to factual knowledge, people trusted more the version. I'm going to be quick on this. Trusted more the version that was detailing how the algorithm worked and interacted in a robotic way, but in the context of a game, it felt awkward, which is why they had more fun and preferred the highly anthropomorphic version. So anyway, having something less anthropomorphic doesn't particularly solve any issues, which again is really interesting because it means there is no precise formula for designing these interactions. And it's well our jobs to think critically about this perceptive phenomenon. So I don't have a lot of time. I actually ran out of my time. So in the meantime, I will pass back to Georgina. And if you have any questions, I'll be here at the end to answer them.
Thanks, Iulia, for your presentation. Now we've got around 15 minutes for the Q&A, and we'll also invite Vali and Louis to join us here on the stream. And we'll be going through some frequently asked questions with you, but we encourage you to send us any doubts, questions, queries you might have through the YouTube chat, and we can cover them during the next 15 minutes. So let's start with the first one. Welcome back, everyone. So we've got this first question here. What is the difference between creative robotics at CCI and elsewhere? What makes CCI such a unique environment to study this course at? Vali, would you like to go for this one first?
Yeah, thanks very much, Georgina. Yeah, I already touched on this in my presentation, talking about why a creative robotics course at an arts university and what makes it specifically different at CCI is both the pedagogy and the approach that we have in terms of teaching creative computing in general. So we're looking at pedagogies that allow you to learn in creative ways and to learn by making and to learn by doing together with others. So it's a team learning and learning by making, learning by doing. At the same time, of course, we give you the core and important skills that you will get from an engineering or a sort of more computer science degrees. So you learn the coding, you learn the existing sort of mechanics, electrical skills, and you integrate all this together with creative approaches to robotics. So what makes creative robotics at CCI unique is, first of all, there are not that many creative robotics courses in the world. So we are quite unique. We're teaching in a very different way to traditional STEM science education, and we are very unique in terms of the outputs and the way that you are perceived by the industry.
Thank you, Vali, for your answer. Would you like to add something there, Iulia or Louis, about your experience at CCI?
Yeah, I mean, just yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think this is when I first came to CCI. My background was in robotics, so I'm really excited that this has actually managed to become a real program. I think, as I maybe alluded to in my talk, and Vali kind of pointed to, this kind of thing doesn't really exist elsewhere. If you have a creative background and you want to kind of study these things, quite often you would have to do it in a STEM program where maybe you wouldn't necessarily, you might struggle to get into, or then once you got there, the culture might be slightly different to what you were expecting. So I think here, where you're kind of set up to want to be embraced for your kind of creative or critical, maybe more like humanities background, I think is a really interesting angle to take it.
Thank you, Louis. So we have a couple of questions coming through from LinkedIn, so we're going to be covering them. First one from Ravi, terrific presentation, thank you. I wanted to know about the type of companies that graduates of the MSc in Creative Robotics could work in. Valerie, do you want to take that one?
Yes, I would say about that. It was fascinating for me when I was in Japan, and one of the reasons I was there was precisely this question about what does the industry out there needs, and exploring it in one of the best robotics countries in the world. I mean, Japan is very high in their robotics research and output. It was the best place for me to get that. And of course, this fed directly into your course. So the MSc in Creative Robotics is using teaching you exactly the tools that are used in the industry. So that when you go out to companies to work, you speak the same language in terms of programming languages, in terms of operating systems. And I can mention companies like Mujin, for example. They have this. They're a global company, American, Japanese, and they're using robotic arms. They were very excited when I spoke to them about what we are doing, and of course they have a placement program as well, and looking forward for collaborations. There is a lot of also work that I've done here together with Imperial College, who I have a very strong link to companies in the UK, robotic industry in the UK. So you are very well placed to connect as a postgraduate of CCI in creative robotics with the industry, both here and globally. So that's important. But also I can tell you a little bit here about what happens with our other graduates and how they are perceived by the industry. And what we see is that the companies are particularly excited about our graduates because apart from the core STEM skills that they get, they have an ability to work across different teams, to work with people from design, from art, and from business. And that's why usually, especially in the other graduates where we're doing placements, we have seen that our students are used in much more projects, for example. They are more likely to get jobs immediately after their placements. And we believe that we can make that also the case for creative robotics and our master's graduates.
Thank you, Vali, for your answer. Right, we have another question coming through from LinkedIn as well, from Christina. Hello, Christina. Christina says, I am interested in studying in CCI. What are the requirements for international students if they're from Mexico?
Shall I take that up, Georgina? Okay, hi, Christina. It's very easy. You just go onto our website, you apply through online. So that is easy for all our international students. Your qualifications will be obviously matched with the additional qualifications. Our admissions teams are very well versed to that. We're doing that for applicants from all over the world. So it would be wonderful to have you from Mexico. And of course, you will see that there is requirements in terms of the statement that you need to put, the portfolio that you need to have is all explained in our website when you apply.
Thank you, Vali. And another question we have received says, how much of hands-on electronics do students get to do during the course? Would you like to take that one as well, Vali?
I thought that maybe Louis and Iulia would answer that, but Ravi, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, it's a hands-on at least for one unit for every single term. So there is a lot of fun with doing hands-on electronics. Maybe Iulia and Louis, you can add to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be very hands-on. Oh, sorry, Louis, I overstepped. Yeah, it's meant to be very hands-on, and like there's a lot of hands-on electronics currently in the MSc, in the MSc CC and MSc Data Science and MA and all the kind of like postgraduate courses at the CCI currently, and that is because it's a practice-based class, but for robotics it will be even more so because there's going to be a lot of mechanics involved, and combining that mechanical engineering with electronics is exciting. So
yeah, I think to echo that, like we already run quite a lot of we already run a bunch of creative programs, and the main difference between the creative robotics, the skills that you'll need to kind of work in this area as opposed to the creative computing idea is things such as fabrication and actually building things in the real world, or in the physical world at least. So yeah, for both hands-on electronics, we're already massively well set up for doing that with all the physical computing we do. To also, yeah, the more kind of fabrication, product design, industrial design, mechanical engineering stuff, which there'll be more workshops for next year.
Thank you, everyone, for your answers. And thanks, Ravi and Christina, for your questions as well. So we have a couple of minutes left, 5 minutes left still to go through some questions. So we're going to go on to the frequently asked ones. So if we were to sum up the application process for anyone who's interested in joining this program, Vali, could you take some time to just go through it, just to remind everyone how the process works and what are we expecting them to present?
Yeah, so hi everyone. We sort of touched on that because I think Christina, someone asked already what's in the application, how to apply for international students. So you're going online on our application links. You put your CV, your statement, and you put your portfolio in, and then we have then we going through translating these qualifications that you have if necessary. ready if you are an international student. And then the applications come to us, come to CCI. We go through your information and we make offers. We send our feedback to, again, admissions, and they send you and make the offers eventually. So your communication is mostly with the part of the UAL that deals with admissions. We are at the back of that process, looking through every single application and making decisions about offering positions.
Thank you, Vali, for the highlights. The next question we have received is from Christina, and they're asking us, are there scholarships available to students?
Yeah, that's a very important question, and the answer is that we're working into creating this kind of scholarships for our PhD students, which is important, and there are interesting developments in that. In UAL, we provide scholarships internally from UAL to 5 top PhDs in the university, but we don't have a similar technique for the MSc level, for postgraduate level. Having said that, of course, you have the option of maybe we have some few teaching assistants that come from alumni, from students, past students in the MSc, or advanced students in the MSc. So there might be opportunities there, but I'm afraid we're not providing scholarship in the traditional shape of the word. You're very welcome to apply, and we can support you to apply for scholarships. For example, it could be a Mexico-UK kind of scholarship that might exist. We will support you to apply for these opportunities.
Thank you, Vali. I also wanted to note that there are UAL-wide international scholarships available, so you can check out UAL's website and you'll find all the information there. But again, super happy to be in touch with you and send you some more resources and links. So we've got one last question that we'll be able to pick up from the audience, and that one is about the class size. So what will the class size be for this new provision?
I think I can take that one again. We try to start small and beautiful. So we believe that we're keeping the class sizes to 25 people a maximum. So it will be a small cohort to start with. And we've used that across all our courses when we introduced any new course, keeping it small, getting it to work superbly in the first year, and then getting to grow from there.
Thank you, Vali. Amazing. So I wouldn't like to finish the session before asking you this question, which is, what is the CCI community like? And it would be amazing to hear from you, from your own different perspectives, what it's like to be part of this institution. Do you want to start, Louis?
Yeah, sure. CCI community is amazing. When I first started working here, it was during COVID, so we didn't get to hang out in real in the physical space that much. But since we've been back, since we've got more students, since we're all in the spaces now, since we've got more students, it's been really amazing to see it really kind of come alive. With kind of students hanging out, working together, working across programs. Very nice.
Thank you, Louis. Iulia, would you like to share a little bit as well?
Yeah, sure. No, it's been amazing. It's been such a wonderful journey for me. I've been here for a year, and I usually have this mentality, like I go in one place, I do my job, but the reality is that it's quite, it's been lovely to kind of almost like be like almost like see everybody here as friends, not even like work colleagues. It's just it's like a lovely community which feels like a family. So yeah, it feels like home, which is really nice. I think you'd enjoy it.
Thank you, Iulia.
Yeah, what can I say? That's it. It feels like a family. I'm very proud of that. I joined 2 years ago, and it's the place where I feel at home. And I feel at home because usually this multidisciplinarity, somebody that's a computer scientist and designer and has a business understanding and entrepreneurial talent, it's a weird person. It seems somehow that it doesn't fit here or there, but CCI is exactly the place where multi-talented, multidisciplinary can fit really well. So for me, I feel at home. I feel that I can bring the whole of myself into and all my abilities into my workspace. But I also feel that I have developed some amazing friendships through this, and yeah, it feels at home.
Thank you, Vali. Thanks, everyone. We made it to the end of the event. Thank you so much for joining us for this open day session from around the world. And thanks, Vali, Louis, and Iulia for making it happen as well. I hope it was an insightful presentation, that your questions about the MSc Creative Robotics and CCI were answered. We invite you to email us at cci@arts.ac.uk if there's any other unresolved question or any other doubt that arises in the future. We'll happily get back to you and give you all the resources and information. And in the meantime, if you want to find out more about the courses, the new provisions that we have at CCI, you can visit arts.ac.uk/CCI/new, and you get to find out more about the details of the course. And we would also like to invite you to follow us on the different social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, where we share all about new opportunities, the postgraduate shows coming up now in December, for example, and other workshops and ways to engage with us. You can find us on UAL_CCI, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we also upload a lot of different content and other open day sessions as well. We look forward to meeting you, hopefully in real life soon. And in the meantime, take care, everyone.